Around 5 years ago, I discovered a service that's called DEXA Scan. And in general medicine, it is used to determine the density of the bones of a person, but there is also an athletic implementation of this technology. DEXA Scan can determine the difference in density in different tissues in your body. So your bones would be the most dense, then your muscle mass would be denser, and then your fat tissue would be the dense, like less dense of a tissue. So based on these parameters, plus things like your weight and your height, this machine can actually pretty accurately determine your full body composition. And of course, there is a room for error in any technology, but in general, DEXA scans are known to be one of the most accurate technology to determine the composition of your body. And so, of course, when I discovered this technology about 5 years ago, I instantly knew I needed to schedule it. But at the time, it was a newer technology or a newer service, and so it was only available on the west coast of the United States because apparently people there care more about their body composition than us here on the East Coast. So that idea kind of just wind down and I never really thought about it. Anyways, fast forward to today, I decided to Google it once again because I came across a video like I usually do. And thankfully, this service expanded to the East Coast these days and I found a location in Tampa. And obviously, I had to book it immediately. Since I am starting this whole physical transformation, I figured having this kind of information would be very beneficial. But secretly, I also am hoping for some sort of internal validation when the results come through because, I have been grinding in the gym for like 7 years straight, 7 years of growth and discipline and all that good stuff. And I'm just hoping, really hoping that the 3 years of the burnout that I experienced did not make my muscle mass disappear. That's all I want. I just want my muscle mass to show through because right now the only way for me to see my muscle is actually through the DEXA scan because you can't see any of it under the layer of fat that I have on my body right now. That sound that you heard in the background, that's birds and squirrels tripping because the gator is out of the water. Like they do this all the time. They just warn everybody, especially the tourists that are just like standing there and taking pictures like, quack, 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 why are you still here? Run away. I just woke up. It is 6:27 a.m. right now. I have to be at the DEXA scan office by 7:45 and I didn't eat anything. I didn't drink anything. I went to the bathroom. That's basically how I'm rolling. Just for like the precision of the experiment so that I know that's my base point because that's how I usually weigh myself in the mornings anyways. As you could see, my scale showed that I am 242.7. Today is December what? Today is December 7. As you might imagine, there is not a lot of weight loss happened between like November and December. Like for a month, nothing happened really, which sucks, but at the same time, like trying to get a routine in the middle of the holiday season is like, it's a challenge to say the least. So I need to be leaving shortly, you know the gist. Oh, look at this traffic. That's one thing I'm not gonna miss. Not living in the city, that's for sure. Well, that was stressful. So apparently this is just a service that they do in like a regular gym, which is like awesome, like family owned or something like that. We need more places like that. This is like one of those tough gyms, like the ones the kind that I like. I've worked out at a gym like this for a while and like the communities in these gyms are usually outstanding. Like the people are amazing. Alright, time to geek out on some data. Alright, so first thing I'm gonna say is that it's extremely trippy to see yourself like this, to see your full body with fat and everything else through a scan because it doesn't settle with you. Like especially with me, it didn't settle that I'm overweight up until a lot later because I am 6 foot tall and so when I gain weight it's not as noticeable until it's too late. I did expect to have that much body fat. Let me just say that. I did expect it. But when you see this vividly through a scan, it makes you feel a certain type of way. Okay, so what can we see by this graph specifically is that I'm obviously, for my weight, this is me, my point, and I obviously have too much fat for my body weight and my age. I have 104.6 pounds of total fat, and I think it also takes into account like normal fat. So I think this is like complete in total amount of fat that I have in my body. Doesn't mean that I have to lose 104 pounds of fat, but more like 70 or 80 would probably keep me lean and healthy. Right now, it's not the goal, like, you know. The other thing that I also really wanted to check is basically my muscle mass. I like, ever since I was weightlifting, I was very interested in this, and it's interesting to see that I have 130 pounds of that. I don't know if it's good or bad. I'm gonna put it somewhere on the screen. We'll see the averages versus mine. Like, at least I'm glad I have that, because, you know, I have been in the gym for like years and years prior to my burnout. That should count for something, right? Anyways, by this graph you can see that my BMI puts me into obesity range, which is scary to admit. But also, if you know, there are a lot of interesting inconsistencies with the BMI, and the BMI takes into account mostly like your body mass. It doesn't differentiate between fat and muscle tissue. You could be lean, bodybuilder, athlete, you know, with extreme amount of muscle mass and almost no fat, and you would still have a high BMI, would put you into obesity range. So this scale is a little bit outdated, but what it does do is it basically shows how well and how functional can you perform daily life functions. Because when you're a bodybuilder at 300 pounds, like, you can't even move properly because of all your muscle mass. That's also not a high quality of life, in my opinion. So everything is in balance, right? So I can see why the BMI would put that person into obesity range and somebody like me into obesity range. But basically this graph here is all that I wanted to see from this, but also they give you like 2 more sheets. This one is specifically for your bone density, and as you can see, my point is here, and she said that anything that's above the blue line is good, so at least I am good in my bone density, I guess. That's something I don't have to worry about for now. And on the third page, was also very interesting is that they break down the parts of your body that have a specific amount of muscle mass density versus body fat. So for example, if I overtrain my right arm or my left arm, or like a part of my body or one leg or something like that, or if for example you're an amputee and your right side of your body is a lot more developed than the left side of your body, this graph is gonna tell you that, which is interesting. So yeah, that's basically it. It was very trippy and very interesting. One thing I would say is that this test does not come like with no consequences. The DEXA scan does emit a certain amount of radiation, and I talked to the lady that was doing the scan, and she basically said that the radiation is as if you were to fly from LA to New York, like the radiation from the sun. And she's like, yeah, that's, you know, it's very little, it's harmless really. But I'm kind of thinking, you're taking this flight from LA to New York and you're getting this radiation within a few hours of the flight, whereas when you're doing the DEXA scan and you're getting this amount of radiation, you're getting this within the 10 minutes that the DEXA scan is running through you. So the amount might not be critical, but the amount at the specific time might be a little bit something to consider. So I wouldn't do this like every week, definitely, and it costs money. Like I paid $100 on sale for this. It's usually like 150 to $200. But you know, once maybe a year or every 6 months, I definitely, you know, I think it's a good idea to have this. And also, I'm very glad to have this information for the future, because this is basically my base point. I'm very sad that I wasn't able to do this when I was in my best shape ever, so that I would have been able to refer to something else rather than this piece of paper. Now I get to have my base point. We'll go from there. The video is over, but can we talk about how my calf muscle is literally the size of my skull? I'm telling you, if you want good calves, just jump rope. Jump rope, jump rope, jump rope. I've done it for like years, and yeah. Also, see how much, I don't know if it's gonna focus, but see how much tissue there is around my skull. Like, all of this is literally this. When you get big over time, it feels like you just get older, or you know, your body just changes and that's just what you are. But to see that this is my skeleton and everything else can be changed and adjusted, when you see it that way, it makes me very hopeful that all of this can disappear, you know, all of this can disappear. I'll get myself better. For sure, for sure. Like, there is no other way. There is literally no other way but to get better. By the way, if you're watching this, thank you for sticking out until the very end. That's rare. Thank you.